Okay, example 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all going to be find the least common multiple. Least common multiple's purpose is to find a common denominator. So if you're adding fractions, or anytime you're dealing with fractions and denominators are involved, have to find a common denominator. That's what least common multiple is all about. And the process for finding the least common multiple is very systematic. You do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. Very, very simple to do this. Step 1 is find the prime power factorization of each number or term. Okay, so if it's all numerical, just numbers. If it's got numbers and letters, I'm calling it a term. Then write LCM equals, write each factor that occurred in any one of the factored forms. It doesn't matter if it happens in all of them, like the greatest common factor, there had to be a 2 in every single one, or a 3 in every single one to count. If a 2 happens, it counts. If a 3 happens, it counts. If a 5 happens, it counts. Prime numbers that happen count. You put the highest power that occurs in any one of the factored forms from step 2. Okay, so what I'm talking about is if 2 is happening in several, and there's a 2 squared and a 2 to the 5th, 2 to the 5th counts. With least common, or sorry, with greatest common factor, we take the smallest. With least common multiple, we take the highest, the greatest. And then multiply everything out completely. That's all you do. So let's go through the process here with a couple of number problems first. Then we have a couple letter problems after that. We'll see how it works for both. And again, when it says find least common multiple, that's all we're trying to do. Find the biggest number that's a common multiple of each of the numbers in the list. So, start with this one. We got 8. If I did 8 as a prime power factorization, it's going to be what? What times what times what times whatever. What makes 8? Alright, 2 times 4. And then 2 times nothing. And then 4 is 2 times 2. So 8 equals 2 to the 3rd power.
I don't have 3.
And then if we look at 15, how can we make 15 happen?
5 times 3.
5 times 3, perfect. So 15, our second number, 3 times 5, they're both to the 1st power. I'd recommend putting powers and everything too.
Okay, I understand. I just need a writing utensil because mine.
And finally, 100 is our 3rd number. If we did that, 100 is 10 times 10, 2 times 50, 5 times 20, take your pick. I'm going to go 10 times 10. 10 is 2 times 5, and 10 is 2 times 5. So if I were to write that down in prime power form, 100 is equal to 2 squared times 5 squared. So that's job 1. Factor everything completely to its prime power factorization. Don't give me 2 times 2 times 2. Give me 2 cubed. All right, 3 times 5, again, put both to the 1st power so you can see the powers sitting there. Okay, is everybody okay with job 1? Step 2. You look at every single prime number that happens. That's what matters to us. So I'm going to write LCM equals, and then if it happens at all, it counts. It doesn't matter if it's in every one or in one of them. If it happens, it counts. So does 2 happen? Correct answer is yes, it happens. It's right there, 2. Doesn't matter that it's in all 3 of them, it just matters that it's there at all. Notice that 3 is also there, and 5 is also there. Is there any other prime numbers I haven't accounted for? No, just those 3, that's it, right? So 7 doesn't happen, 11 doesn't happen, 13 doesn't happen, just 2, 3, and 5, that's it. Alright, then we take the highest power for each one. So for 2, my choices are 3 and 2, I'm going to take the 3. For 3, I've only got the 1st power. For 5, I have 1 and 2, I take the 2. That's the part that tends to mess people up. This L stands for least, but we're taking the biggest. Okay? We're trying to find the least common multiple. Multiple is a list of numbers that multiply. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. If you count by 8s, you count by 15s, 15, 30, 45, 60, and so on. Count by 100s, 100, 200, 400, 300, 400, and so on. The least number that they all have in that list is the one we're looking for, and it just so happens it's going to be the one with the highest power for each one. So you just have to believe that. All right, all this left to do then is multiply all this out. This is 8 times 3 times 25. 8 times 25 is 200, times 3 is 600. Okay, so once you figure out this, it's just a matter of numerical evaluation of that thing. Feel free to use a calculator. These numbers do get rather large. So if you get me to this point here, what I've got boxed up, and type in 2 caret 3 times 3 times 5 caret 2 equals, it'll tell you the answer. Alright, the caret key on most calculators is what you're going to use to get powers. Some calculators have an X to the Y power button. But again, if you can get me to this point, the calculator can calculate it for you. That's fine with me, not a problem.